Long fingies coming at you in the dark.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, good morning, BBs. It's too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
And we didn't take any time off. You're a liar.
But hypothetically, if we had, it might be because of a comical series of errors.
It might be, but it might not be.
Who could say? Me. So this last week,
Yeah.
everybody,
Mhm.
I want to talk about it a little bit.
Hey, we got to talk about it. Listen, folks, you got to be able to talk about it. You know? It. Cigarettes.
Pennywise. So last
Agoraphobia. Now we're just free associating all the things that are terrible in our lives.
Arachnophobia.
A thrillamedy.
A roller coaster I'm not currently on.
Long fingies reaching out in the dark.
Ripping your entire thumbnail off.
Oh, don't do that though.
Did that last night.
Hey, but don't.
Hey man, that shit,
Yeah.
it hurts.
Yeah. You need that. It covers up important nerve endings that scream.
Yeah, I did that on a corset. I was doing the little latches, taking it off.
Oh,
Caught on it and just fucking goodbye.
Is that a sexy story?
No,
All right.
no, no. I didn't have my house keys.
Uh-huh.
They let me into my house because she had her key, and I was like, "Oh my god, my ribs! I have to take this corset off." And then I busted my finger, but fortunately Kaylee was there to wrap it up.
Sorry, the internet has trained me to believe that anytime a corset comes off, it's a sexy time.
No, I was out being a vampire. It was a decorative corset. Anyways, this is besides the point. Last week, we missed a whole week of shows.
No, we didn't.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
If we had. Originally, it was like, oh, Anthony's got some work. Anthony, you did something very exciting.
What did I do?
You hosted the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania premiere
I did.
on Monday.
That was pretty cool.
That was rad.
Yeah, I did that, and it was a lot of fun. And go see Quantumania, because, all right, we got to talk about it.
It. Still got more things from the week, too.
Large beetles.
Nice. I haven't seen it yet.
It is very, no, I just meant I'm naming things, but I'm naming scary
But you
things.
do understand that
It could have
that
been.
sounds perfectly reasonable.
No,
to be talking
I
about
understand.
Ant-Man.
If we're free associating from Ant-Man to scary things, large beetles. No, I did Ant-Man. I did the Ant-Man premiere. They were lovely. Everyone was fun. Crew was great. Co-hosts were great. Everything was a good time. They had, okay,
Can we get cozier?
let's find out together as a family.
I mean, we could just scoot down the table.
I mean, who knows? Yeah, and here's the thing. Two things.
Uh-huh.
Number one, Jonathan Majors is the best smelling person in the history of time.
Yes, I received this as a text message.
I don't want to be weird, but Jonathan Majors is the best smelling person in the world. Number two, that movie's good.
That's great. I can't wait to see it.
People are like, I don't think this movie was very good. And I'm like,
The best take that I saw about it was Marvel fans are so weird because you will like 7 of an identical movie, and then when the 8th identical movie comes out, you're upset, but then you like the 9th again, which I do think describes that pretty well. I do think it describes that pretty well.
and I think there's something fair about that, because you're balancing on a tightrope of what people expect and want and like, and doing new things. And like not changing it too much, but changing it enough.
Yeah.
And like, so I kind of see that. But also like some of the takes I'm seeing are just like wild.
Takes for the sake of takes, man.
Yeah, it's just like, this movie was too silly. Have you seen an Ant-Man film?
I saw them both recently.
He shrink down into ant, and then get big sometime.
Shit's pretty silly.
It's pretty silly. The entire climactic fight of the first Ant-Man is played for goofs.
Yeah.
What did you want? I don't know.
So that was Monday.
That was Monday.
Wednesday, Anthony, I enter the studio.
Stadia.
And the power is out.
Mm-hmm.
In most of
The system
studio.
is down. The system is down.
So, we just moved in here. We're renting our new studio space. So we had to have the power transferred over to our name.
Yeah.
We did it. There's a thing that you have to separately turn on. They didn't tell us about. They told a neighbor about. But then once we got that part on.
You need 2 launch keys.
Right. But then we had to call them again because this used to be 2 separate places that was at some point physically combined into one, but never listed as one. So they turned on...
A beautiful union of 2 retail spaces coming together.
They turned on half the power. They turned on the half of the power that is not this room. So then we had to wait for them to come back out to turn on the other half.
Yeah.
Okay? Which means we now pay 2 power bills.
That means you're double grown-ups.
Anyways, subscribe to the Patreon.
Anyway.
So then I come in on Thursday.
Yeah, sure.
And power is back on.
Perfect.
So the HVAC system kicks back on.
Great.
Fills the entire studio with smoke.
That's not what's supposed to come out of HVAC.
It's deeply not. It was not good. So that is why we missed some hypothetical shows last week if we had done
If we had, but we never did.
We didn't, and we wouldn't. But if we were to, it would be for those reasons that are very understandable.
This seems like the sort of thing that our producer should be taking care of. Dagger, did you not set up the power correctly? He's got a very sad look on his face.
And a great turtleneck on.
Oh, he's wearing his classiest turtleneck today.
A real classy little guy over there. And
He
you know
really
what?
is.
I forgive him.
Yeah, because he looks professional. Except his turtleneck keeps riding up.
Yeah.
Because
he's gonna go lay in
he's
pile
a
of sound
poof.
foam.
Because he's a real poof right now.
Yeah. He's off to sleep in his bed of sound foam.
Yeah.
Like all producers do.
Yeah. When producers hibernate, they burrow into soundproof foam for the winter.
Anyways, everyone, hello. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We missed you last week, and we're glad that you're here.
A lot of people saying that Dagger's never done anything wrong, and I just have to tell you, you can't give people more slack at work just because they're attractive. You can't.
Disagree. He's a real cutie.
You can't let him get away with stuff because of that. It's not okay.
But then he looks at you and he says,
I don't know what a power bill is. I've never had to pay for anything in my life.
Maybe something that said, but he's just a baby.
He is.
Now, I also use that same argument at work often is I understand that you're upset with me and I am a producer, but I am also just a baby.
She does say that to me a lot.
I know I'm the producer, but I am just a baby.
I know I'm head of network, but also very sweepy.
But really just a little guy.
Just a small man. And is that a smoke alarm? No.
Oh, no, we don't have this.
No. Oh, that's another fun thing. I was there for part of the HVAC repair. And you were like, now, could this be carbon monoxide? Because the landlord, when I asked if we had carbon monoxide detectors, said, I don't legally have to give you one of those. Or smoke detectors.
He said, businesses don't have those. I'm not joking. He said to me, businesses don't need them. I was like, I would argue that businesses need them more.
Right. And I understand that he was speaking legally, whereas you were speaking practically. But he was like, oh no, businesses don't need those legally. Legally, you don't have to spend the $8.
It was
You
a
can
very strange
listen.
conversation.
Ask the people at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. You don't need to supply workers with anything like that.
When I said, hey, the fact that this is not properly listed with the city really kind of fucking me, bud. You know, like it's really kind of fucking me up here, bud. What's this?
If I go like this, you can't even tell.
The cable?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, it's us. You're two youth pastors. And we need to talk to you about
Drugs.
cigarettes.
So when I asked him, I was like,
scary
hey,
roller coasters.
This is really kind of a bad thing for us. He went, it's not that big of a deal.
Which is your favorite thing for people to say?
It's everyone's favorite thing for everyone to say. Everyone loves it. It's not that big of a deal.
It's hey. I thought you were cool. When I rented you this place, I thought you were cool.
Honestly, that's exactly his vibe.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't think that you wanted I didn't think you cared about code violations.
I didn't think you were like, ugh, gross. We're gonna breathe in toxic fumes until we die. I didn't think you were that sort of person.
So it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
I'm having a very good time being a commercial renter now.
We don't even have a water slide or a ball pit yet.
Or hot water in one of the bathrooms.
Yeah, I refuse to go down a lukewarm water slide.
That's fair, actually.
Yeah.
That's unpleasant.
I don't like it. I want either I want a cool, refreshing water slide.
Uh-huh.
Or I want a nice, like a steamy water slide,
Yeah,
like a comfy, cozy water slide.
It's going to have to be hot tub or pool.
God, I wish water slides were like hot tub temperature.
I wish people didn't pee in them.
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, it's a big morning.
Okay.
Do you know why it's a big morning?
Yes, I do. Because somebody, for maybe the first time ever, decided to release a trailer before it's too early.
I remember in the halcyon days of video games journalism, of which I did not participate. I simply watched, disgusted. I would never. Video games journalism. Blech. I remember, though, everything dropped at 7 a.m., if not 6 a.m. I remember you used to have to walk uphill both ways to get to a trailer drop.
And hey, while I'm at it, maybe I'll bump my mic a little.
Sure. Sure. Go ahead. Everything used to drop in the morning. Nothing drops in the morning anymore. Everything drops in the afternoon.
But today it did.
Today, we got the open world trailer, is what they're calling it, for Redfall. We're very excited about Redfall.
Yes.
I'm still extremely excited about Redfall.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It is one of those slow burns to get here.
And let me tell you something that makes me even more excited about Redfall, Saige.
What?
It's only for grown-ups.
Oh.
It's only for grown-ups, Saige. I got to sign in and confirm my age. They'd really like me to know that YouTube TV still exists. All the time. They're constantly telling me that YouTube TV still exists.
And you know what, YouTube? I do believe you.
Yeah, I don't think it's not existent. What did I just say? Nothing. I literally said nothing.
Why'd you sign into YouTube is my question.
I had to fix my little laptop. Because it was having problems.
Doing that, can we just have a little side tangent while we get to this?
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the teenage look filter on TikTok going around? A lot of people are doing it. It softens your facial features. It shortens your jawline. It makes your eyes a little too big and your mouth a little too big.
That doesn't sound like a teenage filter. That sounds like a baby filter.
It's a little bit of a baby filter.
That sounds like a ding dang Muppet baby filter.
There are certain very particular face shapes that it'll work on. On me, I do look like a toddler. I absolutely do look like a toddler. But the problem is,
But the problem.
I went to post something about it because I was like, oh, I'm going to compare what I actually looked like as a teenager to this thing where it's doing all of my like, oh, I have piercings and my hair is dyed and all of this stuff, which is very much not what I looked like as a teenager. So I went to compare it, and then I saw myself in the filter, and I went, oh, no, this is going to be enjoyable for people. I actually have to not post this. I don't like it. With the, like, existing heteronormative beauty standard of, like, women having to look cherubic, I was like, saw myself like me, but baby. And I was like,
But baby.
No, someone will enjoy this, which means I cannot post it. Anyways, keep that in mind.
Anyway.
Don't.
Anyway. Don't.
Can I get another take on that?
Don't. Will you give my one email access to the doc? I know it's wild, but I know it's wild. It's not me. It's Google multi-account shit.
Look it up on YouTube.
I can't, dog.
You can't?
No, because then how am I going to bring up other stories? I still need to be in the doc.
This is very funny. I don't have a request. You have to request it, Anthony.
Just give me permission. Add me, dog.
You said my one email.
Yeah. You know that one email. You know the one. Yeah. That's the one. You know the one.
A smooth show today.
You know the one.
Keeping it smooth today.
You know what I'm
Bearded
saying.
Men look like an Amish baby. That's very funny.
I look like an Amish baby.
I didn't punch the mic. We cheersed. Top tier content today. We're just trying to get to the one trailer.
All we're trying to do.
Also, there is no news about Tingle.
I mean, the news is Tingle still the best.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah.
What's going on over here?
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got the thing.
I got a trailer right here for you.
Look at that.
Okay.
Smooth.
No problems getting there. What?
Xbox sound.
Now, I haven't watched this yet. Have you?
No.
All right. We're getting like 1, maybe 2 frames.
Yeah, it's good. Let me see if I make it full.
You did it.
It says it's doing it. I mean, vampires love trap. That's something that most people don't know about vampires. Okay. Oh, I like that. Oh.
This is beautiful.
This is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, 100%.
See?
This looks incredible.
This is what I wanted.
Yeah, nothing up to this point has like displayed the horror elements as well.
Well, and the environment up until now has looked very normal, which is odd for an Arcane game.
Uh-huh.
So I love that they're showing off all the fantasy elements of the environment now. Oh. Did you just build like a gothic window and jump onto it? I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is fucking rad as shit, actually. This is very cool.
Oh, yeah. Give me a swirly tree tunnel.
We got multiplayer?
Yeah. I think it's the only way to do it.
I mean, are we going to do it together?
As a family?
Yeah.
Me, you, and Dagger?
The 3 of us as a family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this looks like it fucking owns. Gigantic red demon flying around. The world is changing. No shit.
Yeah. Things sure have Things sure have gotten different in our little town. Ah, gee. Bite Back.
Ooh.
Good classic Stephen King 80s horror font.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm so in.
I'm
so in.
So, of course, they're talking at the end of the trailer here about how, as we all know, the base game is available on Game Pass day one because it is a Bethesda game. So that's great. But they are also saying like, hey, there's extras. There's extras already.
And day one is May 2nd.
Yep.
May 2nd.
May 2nd. If you get the Redfall Hero Pass, you get 2 additional heroes, which will be released later.
Okay.
You get a throwback outfit pack, which, and then you get a laser beam multi-skin weapon and a tactical knife stake weapon attachment. I guess it turns your stake into a bayonet.
I'm curious to see if that actually ends up making you better at the game, which would like obviously concern me, or if those are mostly like your weapon looks different.
Yeah, they're saying skin for most of them. There are a couple that don't say skin that actually say, so Grimtide Shotgun does not say skin, but who knows? That may have very similar attributes to other shotguns in the game. Polar Vortex, which is kind of the white rifle looking thing there, is a skin. It's a multi-weapon skin. And Blood Ravager stake weapon attachment. It sounds like these stake weapon attachments are also cosmetic. So it's just about whether you want all your good vampire hunting gear to be matchy and nice looking.
Which, like, hey, if it comes out and the game owns, absolutely I do.
Listen, you're talking to 2 people who have spent a lot of money on Sea of Thieves, and Sea of Thieves is free. Like,
well, here's the thing.
I mean, I did buy it initially.
I bought it before it was free too.
But then didn't they give us pirate points or some shit? I feel like they gave us some pirate points for being founders.
I think we have like some cosmetic items.
Yeah.
I think we have a couple of things.
We got some good pirate points.
Anyways, what did y'all think of the trailer? Are you looking forward to it? Do you want to play it? I haven't had a good multiplayer in a long time.
Yeah.
Like something I just kind of fell into the habit of with friends. It's been a minute.
I'm just so glad that trailer finally makes it look like an Arcane game. And I'm wondering if they just wanted to hide the vibe for a little bit and release it slowly, or if it literally just started to look like an Arcane game now-ish.
I would follow that theory personally.
Which would be tough because like game's only a couple months out.
Right, but also why bury the lead like that?
Yeah, that's true.
Especially when it's not a surprise, it's something you're known for. If it was something where it was like, oh, this is a big reveal, but instead it's like, oh, it didn't look like the thing you do, and now it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that it has those. I'm glad that it has the Arcane environments. I'm glad that it has the kind of swappiness. And something that we did see a little bit in there that I'm hoping to see even more of as we get closer. I'm sure they're going to do one more like Redfall Xbox. What do they call the live directs? The Xbox ones. I don't know.
Don't remember.
You know, I'm sure they're going to show like a live Xbox thing where they show off more of the traversal stuff, because that's also a very big Arcane thing.
Yeah.
And we've seen little flashes of it, like the one player who made like the window or the platform real quickly. We know that there's a bit of a blink power. Like Arcane makes a real good like short distance teleport in all their games. So I'm very excited to see Arcane traversal in this open world. And that's another thing where I'm just like, I don't know why they're holding that back. Maybe just because Arcane mechanics are better explained than shown. You know,
interesting.
Some of the Arcane, like when you think about like Deathloop or Dishonored,
I'm doing it. I'm thinking about it right now.
Okay, think about Deathloop.
Okay.
Think about Dishonored.
Okay.
Think about them both at the same time. It's tough.
Yeah.
But then think about all the different things you could do in the environment and all the different moving around things you could do. It's a lot.
Yes.
But those things are better shown in actual gameplay than, just shown in a trailer. You want like a minute where somebody shows you how all this stuff works.
A surprising reaction to me is Cognoggin saying, looks like a typical shooter to me. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting reaction to the trailer.
Well, and I think And I think that kind of speaks to what we're talking about, which is they've been holding off on the arcaneness of it all.
But this trailer in particular did not look like a regular shooter to me, or like a standard issue shooter.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where some of the actual gunfight stuff looked more standard.
Yeah.
Particularly like
guns.
Particularly like in a post everybody's playing Fortnite world, the fact that one player is making a platform for you is like nothing anymore. But the environment and the hints at the story stuff are what makes this look more like an arcane game than a typical shooter to me. Like the dollhouse environment that turns into a large dollhouse in front of you.
Very cool.
The buildings changing in front of you, the terrain changing in front of you. That's all very arcane.
Even the types of creatures and monsters.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of different stuff. They hinted at the different factions of vampire that are there. I'm pretty excited for this game. And, you know, the thing is, if you have Game Pass, which, of course, will eventually destroy the entire industry, but right now, if you have it, it's a really great deal because you can just play it. You can just try it out. You can just be like, I'm going to play Redfall on day one, and if I don't like it, I'll never play it again.
Yeah. I do love that about it. I want to talk about something very strange.
No.
That popped up in the news today.
Okay.
Do you remember those Alice games?
Yeah, American McGee.
Yeah, from American McGee. The American McGee Alice games, there was Alice and then there was...
Madness Returns.
Madness Returns. Really like freaky, dark Alice in Wonderland video games.
Do we have breaking Alice news?
Kinda.
We have breaking Alice news?
So that's why it's so interesting to me.
For American McGee's Alice?
So the last game came out in 2011, and American McGee is now being like, hey, we're not done. We have to get another game. Now, the original Alice game is actually very hard to get a hold of and play if you don't have like a physical copy of it from the time.
It was also very hard to play at the time.
Right.
It was one of those weird, built on a shooting engine, but was a platformer.
Yeah.
It was very weird to play.
You can still play on Steam, Madness Returns, but the original one's not even on Steam. So
I want to say at least one of them's on Game Pass.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
but I don't know.
It's got to be Madness Returns then.
Probably.
So they posted a video with the Alice Asylum Design Bible for V1 launch and developer announcement for this month. Now,
what does that mean?
What it is, hey, does anybody want to give me money to make this game?
Oh.
I really want to make this game.
This is, I'm American McGee. I don't want to do this via crowdfunding.
Why not, computer?
Well, he probably doesn't want to do it. Do you want to throw a link in and I'll pull it up? Oh, is it? There it is. Great.
Yeah.
So this is American McGee saying, hey, I don't want to crowdfund this, and I can't probably because I don't own it.
No, so that's the thing. He's also trying to crowdfund it, but this is hopes to get picked up by a publisher so that he can develop it. But already he's been running a dedicated Patreon to funding the game's development that has over 3,000 patrons right now. Those patrons can range from $1 to $500 a month. We can't see how many are at any given tier, so we don't know how much money is coming in on that Patreon. But there's 3,200 people that are trying to fund this game. And right now he's like, look, we're going to make it. Look what it looks like. And just released like some early art and some ideas for it.
So 3,200 people on a Patreon is not, for something like this, is not anything. But
A month, I guess.
Yeah.
It depends on how long you keep that Patreon going.
But it's not going to fund a AAA, new version of Alice.
No.
But I had not heard of this yet. I would wager most people had not heard of this yet. So we're talking about 3,200 people that are just the hardcore, we follow American McGee.
Yeah.
We care about what American McGee's studio is doing. So that's a positive sign, I think.
It's very interesting because it's like this is such a public format and this is a very like inside baseball video about game development, which is kind of cool to see. I actually do think that it's very interesting. I do find some of the like themes of this to be quite dated.
Sure.
Inherently, in that it is Alice Asylum. And we're kind of like not really doing asylum content anymore.
Well,
and if I do, it's against my will.
Yeah, and the first two were very, very obviously heavy on that. And and even at the time, it was kind of like, this is not very good in terms of showing what mental health is like.
So, and like at the end of it, it was like, thank you to like our, like they call the fans like insane something. And I was just like, oh, I didn't love that. Witness Alice's story at her darkest.
Now they just showed Witness Alice's story at its lightest, and this is Alice's story at its darkest. You know, I think now it's interesting to think about doing one of these games that goes back and forth between two worlds.
I think that would be very cool.
At the time was very much like, well, this level is here and this level's in the real world and this level's in Wonderland. And the technology wasn't as great for something like that. I mean, now obviously you can just like, our insane children.
That's what they call them. Special thanks to our insane children and Patreon community. Alice would not have come this far without you. It was just hard to watch because I, in theory, really want to enjoy this. And instead, I felt like I was watching a video about funding a game from 2011.
Yeah.
So there's like a level of updating that to make it a game that can exist. Even like a lot of the art and stuff like that they were showing was still very 2011 for games. Their character design and everything.
Yeah.
It was just looking very dated.
It's of a time. I mean, it's the same way, like, you know, when any of these big games come back, like even like a Shenmue or something like that. You think about these games that were kind of like cult classics. And Shenmue came back and it looked like a Shenmue game. And like, you know, and it's kind of like, you know, open world has changed.
So at the end of the video, he puts up the EA logo with "Let's make impossible things happen, ... together." So the whole thing is a plea to EA to fund the game.
So, but he has the rights. He can make the game without them?
Question mark?
That's something that I'm interested in knowing. If he it might be because it was called American McGee's Alice Madness Returns. He might own the characters in the world, and he might just need EA because, like, hey, we publish these things. It would be great to be with the same publisher. Like, maybe we could do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I will say the first one was called American McGee's Alice. The second one is just Alice Madness Returns.
Okay.
So I don't know if there is a rights thing there potentially. I genuinely have no idea on that. And there doesn't seem to be a ton of public information about what the rights holding is on that. But really, we don't have the money to do this, and we need money from someone, and EA did the last one, so like...
Dagger, please.
Maybe we can get a little bit of like fan social pressure on EA to do the next one.
That's a great way to go into any business meeting, I think, is or to start any good like conversation is to make people feel pressured by a social campaign that they don't know about.
Right. Like, well, people are already mad at you for not doing this yet. Do you want to talk?
Yeah. Turns out that we told people that they should be mad at you. Want to sit down?
Everything's hard because my thumb doesn't work.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. That came up here and it was covered and I was just like, wow. Really just still going with it.
In the continuing the horror theme of the games today, Returnal is out on PC, and it's not doing so hot in terms of a PlayStation Studios game. Apparently, it is the only Sony port. Apparently, the only Sony port to PC that has done worse is Sackboy.
Oh wow!
But here's the thing. Dagger. Really, bud?
He's just digging on a couch.
I gotta install AdBlock on this browser. Apparently, it's just, in terms of concurrence, it's not doing super well. It had 7,000 concurrent players over the first weekend, according to SteamDB. Uncharted only had something like 10 or 12,000 players concurrent when it released.
Okay.
I mean, the thing to remember, I think, is a lot of these games are games that people have played before, and most people have gotten what they want out of them.
But Uncharted was much older when it came to PC than Returnal.
Sure. but it's also a much larger franchise.
That is true. That is to factor. I'm just like, like everybody played Uncharted by then. You know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of these PlayStation games, these PlayStation Studios games, unless it's one of their bigger, more recent titles, like you think about like a God of War or Horizon, those are titles where it's like, well, I'm not a PlayStation person, and I never got to play these because they came out within the last couple years. So now I'll play God of War because I'm just not a PlayStation guy.
Right.
Or I never got to play Horizon, or I want to see what these games look like because they're so beautiful. I want to see what they look like on a big beefy PC instead of a console. So there are a few reasons to play them.
Lee Green Griffin is talking about those reasons, said, I thought that I had read that it was the best PlayStation to PC port ever. Is it bad, or is the problem just that everybody who cares who has played it?
It's a great port, and it has, like, PlayStation's done an amazing job with their ports, and this one, it just continues that. It adds everything you would want for a PC port. It's got all the graphics options. It's got all of the fancy gizmos and doodads and bebops,
just like us,
and rock steadies and rock and/or rolls. It's got everything. It's a great port. I think the thing is, even though critics and award shows have really liked Returnal, Returnal is a very specific type of game.
It is.
And it does not have as large or as wide an audience as a lot of other PlayStation stuff. Remember, this is Housemarque. They make really fast, really intense Twitch arcade style shooters. The only difference between Returnal and their other stuff is the camera is no longer top down. They turned it into a third person perspective, and they gave it like some AAA like horror cutscenes and vibes.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's a Housemarque game. It's a Twitch arcade shooter. It is brutal, and I love it.
See, and I don't really enjoy horror that is more action than horror. It's just not really my thing. I'm more for like a slow-paced horror game. So something that is that like, it's just an action game in a creepy setting.
Yeah.
Isn't fully my thing. I was excited when the trailers came out, but once Returnal actually came out, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Not exactly for me. It doesn't make it a bad game. It just isn't necessarily what I'm looking for in a horror game.
Yeah, and I can see where PlayStation thought it was going to be their Hades because it's very similar. You know what I mean? It's like, it's roguelike. You make a little bit of that good, like, actual progress in the game, and you get rewarded with one of like these horror cutscenes, a little bit more of the story. And so I could see where they were like, well, this is really popular right now.
Yeah.
I could see where people would like this, but Returnal is just like a little denser and tougher to get into than Hades is.
Yeah.
And so if you're not a shooter person, you're not going to love it. Self-Aware Can Opener says it's such a pretty game too. Man, Housemarque has always... What's funny is Housemarque are the sort of people that make really high-tech games, but not with aesthetics that connect to people usually. Like you think about Resogun or Super Stardust HD or something like that. Those are like those were made to show off the technology of the PlayStation consoles at the time, but they had like retro cartoon aesthetics. And so people were like, is this graphics? And Housemarque was like, this is so much graphics.
This is graphics.
This is the most graphics. And people are like, I don't think it's graphics.
It
doesn't look like graphics. But anyway, I also think Returnal should have come out on PC. I think it should have come out at $40. I don't think it should have come out at $60.
Yeah, this late?
I don't think it should have come out at like $60-$70 for the PC version.
I agree.
I think that was poor. I think that was poor pricing strategy.
Yeah.
Because I would have played it again, but I'm not going to $70 play it again.
No.
It's right on my PlayStation.
Right.
And like, I know I like everything on my Steam Deck.
Yeah.
But I can also stream my PlayStation to my Steam Deck.
You do have a unique gaming setup, I will say. But yeah, I agree that for it to come out full price again, you're losing a lot of your, I would repurchase on another platform audience. And for the audience that wasn't interested enough to play it the first time, they might not be $70 interested now. While like they don't have a lot of people that are playing and talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, if they had gotten that PC port out like around the time of like the Game Awards and stuff like that, when people were talking about it.
Because there is a level of video game playing that is connected to like a social currency, where it's like, oh, I want to play the new game because I'm going to talk about it with my friends at work that also play games. So I want to be caught up on this, and there's a level of money that people are willing to spend in order to like be able to have that connection with other people. And that goes down and that diminishes as a game gets older.
No.
You're less likely to find other people who are playing it and have something to connect over. So with that...
Plus, why would you play anything when Pizza Tower exists?
And
why would you play anything? There are other games. Pizza Tower's out. Get fucked, other games.
Maribel just got to Disney Dreamlight Valley.
First of all, congrats. Congratulations to all who celebrate.
Your island can have a little casita.
Congratulations to all who celebrate.
It's me.
It's Saige. Saige celebrates.
Yes, I'll be celebrating live tonight. Other creepy things. Hey.
Long fingies coming at you in the dark.
Tongues that aren't where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
They're coming out of your ears. Or out of a telephone like Freddy Krueger.
Like a blah, blah, blah.
Anyways. Lies of P. Still one of the worst names in all of video game history. I think it's genuinely so funny. And you might be wondering, that name sounds familiar. What is that game? I feel like I've heard Saige and Anthony talk about this before. It's because it's the creepy Pinocchio game.
Yeah, it's the Souls Nokio. Pissolzio. Pissolzio.
Hey, I just want to let everybody know that if Effie dies this season, I'm coming back as Pissolzio.
Pissolzio. That's an unlockable character in Pizza Tower.
Pissolzio's a bard.
Pissolzio's definitely a bard.
Pissolzio's definitely a bard. You really got to put the emphasis on the piss, though.
So why wouldn't you? So the IGN Fan Fest just happened. Congratulations to all who celebrate. And
I looked at a lot of it, and IGN's been covering a lot of Wizard game shit, so like, I don't have a super high opinion at the moment.
Sure.
But also their Fan Fest content was like, so-and-so's game has a cutscene.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of Fan Fest, and that's sort of what this is. This is the release date trailer for Lies of P.
That's one of the more significant announcements.
Which VG247, I love, called this that horror twink Pinocchio game. And I was like, yeah.
Correct.
That horror game where Pinocchio's a twink.
Yeah.
Yes. Dagger. Hey, there's nothing down there, bud. Knock it off.
Come on. Fucking quit it.
It's looking better to me. Now, none of this is in game.
Right. Like, this is so much. Do you think this game is anything like this at the end? The Twink Pinocchio game?
I mean, I love the automaton stuff.
It looks so much like the movie 9, the not Tim Burton movie 9.
Right. No, it definitely has that. It definitely has that that dark steampunk aesthetic.
Even the, like, doll face on it. Like, those are creatures that exist in that movie.
Sure. You might be one of the only people that has that movie as a cultural touchstone.
But like,
you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's so wild. So Lies of P.
Favorite movies of all time.
I know, and I'm saying it's
like,
yeah.
I'll put this in the spreadsheet. You show this to them. You show them how right I am.
Well, no, I mean, we're all familiar with the aesthetic. We know.
You said I'm the only one with it as a cultural touchstone.
But I mean, everybody, like, we know the movie, but you're like, I think you're one of the first, like, one of the only people who would think of that as like, this is what I know this aesthetic from.
We're just sitting on the spreadsheet, dog. That was the spreadsheet.
Nah. Nah.
Anyways, that's the creature I'm referring to.
Sure. Yeah, your weird automaton, broken doll, dark carnival, all that stuff.
It's rather specific.
Do you think this game's a big deal?
No. No.
I'm wondering. It's been a while since we've seen since we've seen gameplay. We saw some early gameplay, right? But we haven't seen much since then. And I don't know.
If less games came out per year, this game would become such a weird cult classic in 10 years after it comes out.
Yeah.
And it still could, but it's more likely it gets just kind of like buried because there's a lot of fucking weird games now. But
well, and there's a lot of Souls-likes right now too.
It's the Pinocchio of it all, not the Souls-like portion.
But I'm saying like if it's gonna get lost because in the gameplay of it, like I think that's why we're getting so much cinematic stuff. In the gameplay of it, you're going to see another Souls-like.
Yeah.
And this isn't even the only automaton Souls-like that's coming out.
No.
There's the one where you're the ballet robot in France.
Yeah, which looks great.
And like...
that one looks very cool to me.
There are multiple Souls-likes coming out for every aesthetic. And so I do wonder, like, what's the difference? What's going to make this one stand out? Marketing budget? I don't know. Like
to get in FanFest?
I don't know. Hey, the ballet robot one wasn't in FanFest.
Anthony, a developer sneezed last week and it was in FanFest.
Oh. Oh no.
Again. I said what I said.
Oh no. Not the Imagine Games Network.
Imagine. Actual games.
They're mostly imagining games this year.
Mostly imagining games this time around.
There's not a lot for them that isn't already being reported on. They're mostly just imagining the games.
How interesting.
Let's chat a bit about some horror film stuff.
You don't want to finish games?
What else is games?
I've got more games.
What else is games?
A new Final Fantasy 14 expansion pack. A new DLC came out.
Oh.
Called the Northern Attire DLC.
Congratulations to all who celebrate.
No!
No?
No!
No.
It was culturally insensitive.
Oh.
So...
get wrecked, everybody who celebrates.
The Sami people are like, hey, you can't actually just make our culture DLC. That's kind of wild. So these are the outfits that were put in it. The Sami people, there was a non-governmental organization representing...
Hey, Anthony, install. You got to install Adblock on this computer. Anthony, it's me. It's me.
Please.
Milana Vaintrub. You have to install. You have to.
Ma'am, this is not about you right now.
I was almost Squirrel Girl.
Weird piece of knowledge. Anyways, so a council representing the Sami people of Finland, Norway, Sweden, and Russia are calling for Square Enix to remove the Far Northern Attire DLC from Final Fantasy XIV. They said it's not about sensitivity or whether the depiction is appropriate, but rather they're infringing upon our rights, and they're wrong.
Sure.
You did a bad job, and you don't own this, and that's so weird of you. Essentially, it said. It said our cultural property rights are not theoretical. They are protected and protectable under intellectual property laws, which are generally harmonized throughout the world. Square Enix, as a media company, is highly aware of intellectual property laws and has no excuse for this blatant violation of Sami cultural property. It's just weird as shit of them to do. It's like, here's the thing. It feels weirder that it's a DLC, right? Like, there's just something about that feels stranger, that it was just like, and for this DLC, people's culture. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think...
overall, it's weird to like, hey, I don't own this, and we have no representatives from this, but yet we're putting this in a video game. Always terrible. But the fact that it's a DLC and they were like, look, we need something new to give them. I don't know. Give them that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's this thing where it's like, well, we're doing a northern style, wintry, like what goes in there. And the idea is, if you're going to do that, know the difference between what you're creating whole cloth that is fantasy and what you are using that is based in reality. And if you're using things that are based in reality, have some people on your team with knowledge about that. Hire a consultant, figure out the best way. Give some actual people who do the thing some actual money.
Or just don't use actual culture in your fantasy game. There is a level where it was so normalized for so many years for developers to take things from other cultures and be like, and it's fantasy because it's weird to me. It's different from us, so it's fantasy. And then we were like, hey, that's like dehumanizing to human beings.
And it's okay to, and it is okay to have influences from the real world in your fantasy. There's no creating ideas out of whole cloth, but you need to know how you're reflecting those things, how you're reflecting those cultures, what you're including from those cultures. It's just a general knowledge and sensitivity thing.
It's just that stuff. So they did a bad job. Because
there's simple changes that can be made to this sort of stuff, like these particular patterns and these particular styles of patterns and the way they're in the clothing are particular to the Sami people. But there is a standard Scandinavian woven, like knitted pattern sort of thing.
Sure.
It's like the thing where everybody goes to Iceland and they get the Iceland sweater that has like that pattern on it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that stuff has been taken for like around the world for like skiing attire and ski culture and things like that. And that's fine because that's a more generalized thing. That's the use of a specific cultural pattern.
And that's what they said, is that like these aren't just like aesthetic clothing. Like these have cultural significance and like context in their culture. So for a lot of the things, when people get it wrong too about like fantasy properties, it's like, hey, we use these in like days of cultural significance in some capacity, and it's like a holiday thing. You made a
Pinterest board, but you didn't look at where any of the images came from or why.
Gotta check your sources on your Pinterest board, Square.
So there you go. Be cool, Square. Just be cooler. You know who else could be cooler?
Who?
Like any billionaire?
Honestly, I don't think they could actually.
I mean,
because then they wouldn't be a billionaire.
I mean, they could be cooler. Like, is it within their power? Probably not, but they could be. Like, I'd like it if they were cooler. Because here's the thing. They do continue to make the dumb decisions. Now, one of these decisions, I'm going to tell you a tale of two CEOs. Now, one of these seems like a dumb decision, a super dumb decision. And it's a little dumb, but it's not as dumb as it comes off. But then a secondary decision made on its heels, fucking stupid as hell. So here we go. Last week, Elon Musk, who he got what he wanted, and now he's just too much a part of everybody's life. Elon Musk,
who keeps getting unblocked on my Twitter.
So weird. He specifically has it so he comes up more in your algorithm than anybody else,
Yes, I do.
He actually did that.
Yeah.
Elon Musk and Twitter announced in a blog post that SMS-based two-factor authentication will now only be available to Twitter Blue subscribers. Twitter Blue, of course.
That intro.
Twitter Blue, of course, is the dum-dum thing for dum-dums. You pay $8 a month, you get a blue check and nothing of value. But the idea here is two-factor authentication. If you want it, if you need it, baby, you got to go through the two-factor authentication, people. And that's us. People immediately started bugging out because they were getting these notices. If you use two-factor authentication, they were getting notices that were like, hey, if you don't turn off this two-factor authentication by this date, you're going to be locked out of your account. Make sure you turn off two-factor authentication via SMS. And people were bugging out. They're like, I need two-factor. I'm not paying for two-factor. And what Twitter said in this blog post, and what they kept trying to say, and listen, I want to be as mad at Elon Musk as everybody else.
Can't be.
What Twitter said was, hey, we offer other forms of two-factor authentication that are more secure. The idea is that SMS-based two-factor is the least secure version, because if somebody takes your phone and has your Twitter and logs into your Twitter and it's like, hey, we need to send a text message to you to find out that it's you, they go, nya-ah-ah. It's that sort of thing. So they say, hey, you can still use an authenticator app. You can still use a DigiKey. You can use any of that stuff. We're just moving two-factor authentication to Twitter Blue because if you want it, you're going to have to pay for it.
this doesn't justify this. I think it's shitty. I think it's ridiculous. It's a feature that was previously free. It's absolutely ridiculous to take existing features that people have been utilizing, whether you agree with them or not, and put them behind a paywall.
Sure.
So if they were really concerned, we're like, well, this is the least secure, they would take it away. They wouldn't make it paid.
And that's the other side of it, right? Is it's also the easiest. A lot of people don't want to set up an authenticator app or simply do not have the wherewithal to do so.
Correct.
Now, there are people that are either they're on teams, and a lot of authenticator apps won't allow multiple users on multiple devices to have the same authentication key. A hardware key, you need to get a hardware key for everybody who's going to use the account. There's a lot of that stuff. And also, we need to come to terms with the fact that most people are bad at computers, and just getting them to use the SMS, Dianu, for that alone, we should be grateful.
Right.
Now, if you're going to say, this is a cost-cutting measure, it's not as secure, we don't want to support it, it takes too much to support, it costs us money to support, and not enough people are using it, so we're cutting it.
But people are using it.
But people are using it.
Also not correct. Like, just cut it at the end of the day. So, like, you can try and cover it with, like, oh, it's not secure, and people are getting this, and people are getting that. And
but if you're worried about security, $8 covers it. And what they're saying is, it's not the $8 that magically makes it more secure. It's the fact that we verified the identities of people on Twitter Blue via government ID, via something else. So we know, but that doesn't, but I can use their account. And just because there's a government ID on it doesn't mean that
You're not checking your ID every time you sign in.
It's very, very,
Signing into Twitter isn't like getting into the club.
It's very weird.
However, you will get sexually harassed.
Now,
so it is similar in that way.
Now, one of the reasons that they are getting rid of this is it is one of the most expensive ways to add two-factor to your platform, because they pay for each text message they send out.
So probably a cost-cutting measure where Elon Musk is like, we should be making money on that.
It's really, I don't think it's as terrible as everybody was making it out to be, but I do think it's a bad decision. And I do think it's another one of these like weird, you're never going to make Twitter worth $40 billion. You're never going to make it happen. Nothing is worth $40 billion, especially Twitter.
No, absolutely not.
You should not have spent all that money. I'm sorry all your weird bros got you all riled up and were like, do it, man. Buy Twitter. That'd be so funny. Sorry you did it and woke up and you were the owner of Twitter.
Big dork behavior.
So
to follow this, everybody was like, hey, this is the most fucking bananas notification I've ever got when opening a social media app. And also the way that they're handling it, where it's like, if you don't turn it off yourself, we can't turn it off for you. You have to turn it off or lose access to your account. Like, don't launch that if that's still the process. Until you have solved that issue, don't fucking launch this, you fools.
Dude,
that's so weird.
Honestly, everything this dude is doing is so fucking weird.
So if you do not have Twitter Blue and you currently have text message two-factor authentication on, and you do not go into your account and turn it off,
you'll be locked out of your account.
Locked out of your account because they can't figure out how to code that properly.
Do you know what's going to be so funny?
Because he fired everyone.
What's going to be so funny is because he fired everyone, he fired the support team. Like, we know that there's like no support team left.
Correct.
The day that two-factor breaks, for people who are not connected enough to get these notifications, the day two-factor breaks, there's going to be no support team to field all these people who are like, where is my account? Why can't I get into my account?
Yep. So to follow that.
Yeah, here comes the real stupid.
So to follow that, everybody went, wow, Elon Musk, that's a terrible idea. Except for, you guessed it, Mark Zuckerberg, who said, oh shit, maybe he's onto something.
The Zuck!
The soulless, absolutely fucking disconnected from reality billionaires only continue.
He's definitely a human. He definitely doesn't have all those hot sauce bottles because all he can consume is hot sauce. It's the only thing on the planet he can consume. He definitely doesn't blink vertically.
Yeah. So the Zuck followed up with good morning and new product announcement on his Facebook page. This week, we're starting to roll out Meta Verified, a subscription service that lets you verify your account with a government ID, get a blue badge, and get extra impersonation protection against accounts claiming to be you. You get direct access to customer support. This new feature is about increasing authenticity and security across our services. Meta Verified starts at $11.99 a month on the web or $14.99 a month on iOS.
Now,
they're testing in Australia and New Zealand this month.
I saw this post and I was like, it's fake. Mm-hmm. It's fake. There's no way it's real.
I saw it too.
I saw it on like screenshots of it on Twitter.
In our Discord too.
I saw it screenshots on Twitter the day that it came out, and I was like, this is fake.
I did too.
This has to be fake.
That is why I looked it up directly on Mark Zuckerberg's official Facebook.
I did it immediately. Now that post is gone now.
No,
is it? No,
right now.
I can't get to it, so we can't show it.
It's fine. You're not just like probably sending to a Facebook. So it's here.
This is wild. What happened was Elon Musk said, pay $9 a month for Twitter for a verification badge. And some putzes are doing it. Some real putzes are doing it. But I can't imagine enough that's moving the needle at all. And also, everybody literally hates those people. Like anytime one of those people that's like, I'm verified by Twitter Blue, like posts something, all you see in their replies are, gross, you pay for Twitter. Like, it's actually a reverse status symbol.
Every once in a while, because on your Twitter, you have like your all notifications, your verified notifications, and then your mentions. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, I try to swipe over to my mentions and I accidentally see my verified for a few seconds and I go, ooh. Because it's always like a bunch of like dude bros who are like liking my shit that have like 26 followers and a check mark for no goddamn reason.
And like, it's just so odd. It's not working. And so, of course, these other platforms see it and they go, but if we all do it, we can make it the standard. Correct. If we all do it, we can make, because there is something to be said for a social platform going, if you're a brand or a business and you have a following over a certain number of people or whatever, you need to get this verification mark, right? Which is different than, any other verification, because we need to make sure that we're protecting your brand. You remember it was like when everybody was taking over everybody's blue checkmark stuff, when everybody's buying blue checkmarks and turning themselves into Pfizer and shit. Yeah, that was amazing. So what you need like, hey, if you pay this amount of money, you're verified. People know that the tweets come from you or the posts come from you if it's on Facebook. And also you get access to like our corporate support team or something like that. Something like that is not new or unheard of. No. But trying to pass this along to individuals or smaller organizations who don't need and don't want it and offering nothing in return.
Absolutely nothing. There are actually no mentioned new features yet. They are just saying it's going to be better. It's going to be like Facebook, but better. And there is, of course, right now, the like internal conversation about the idea of the same thing of like a two-factor authentication or somehow enhanced security features that you get access to through the subscription, which starts at from $12 to $15 a month.
So the blue checkmark already exists on Facebook. You can already get it.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay for it.
Well, I'm sure at some point you will. It's probably the same capacity, that it's going to be that Twitter has been.
Oh, but Twitter is still giving people blue check marks.
Are new people getting blue check marks? Interesting.
People are still getting them. It's not happening as much, but they're still doing it for people who
are notable. Life Serial asked something very interesting, which is, does Zuck have the fanboys like Elon Musk does?
No.
And no, absolutely not. I think what's interesting about
sometimes people are like, oh shit, I love that guy. And then they realize they're thinking of like Jesse Eisenberg or Andrew Garfield.
Right. Yeah. So no, he definitely doesn't have the fanboys for this. I don't think that is the case. I think it's a matter of people that are still on Facebook. Do you remember?
Scott Pilgrim wants to charge me $15 a month for something. I haven't seen that guy in forever.
There used to be essentially like chain letters on Facebook. And I'm sure that there are like aunts out there still doing these somewhere, but it used to happen all the fucking time where as a status update, somebody would post something that's kind of like a chain letter where it said something to the effect of Facebook wants to charge to use Facebook.
Yep.
If you don't repost this, they're going to do this and it's going to cost $5, $10, whatever dollars.
It's the same people who are like, hey, if this gets 1 million reposts, Bill Gates will be giving $1 for every, There was such a good one that I used to love. There was such a good one that every time a new terms of service would be posted, there would be people who would I am posting legal notice to my account that I do not agree with the new terms of service.
Yeah.
And therefore, I am exempt from them. I call cootie shot.
But it's so funny that it was this very specific thing where they were always they're going to charge from Facebook, repost this to let Facebook know that you don't want to pay for it. If you don't repost, you will lose your account by this date. And now it's real. If you don't turn off two-factor authentication by this date, you'll lose your account. If you don't want to pay for Facebook, you repost this to let people know.
Social media platforms are going to find out how much we actually like and need them as they start charging.
Yeah.
I simply don't post much on Twitter anymore. I simply don't post much of anywhere anymore.
Here's the thing. I post a good amount because of
I
it's
post
part of the job.
if we're going live.
Right.
But now my posts are entirely transactional now. Mm-hmm. It's very rare that I'm just hey, here's a fun thought that I had. Beepity boop bop.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Fuck you. You don't get to, I'm not posting that.
And I'm not going to pay for that.
I'm not paying for it.
I'm not paying for that.
Ew.
Sydney said Saige tweets are my fave tweets. Thank you. How's your granola bar, Anthony?
No one can tell.
Well, we could see the whole thing actually inside of your mouth.
No one can tell.
You decided to show them.
No, it's because if you hadn't
opened up and you showed it to them inside your mouth.
No, if you hadn't said, they never would have known.
Yeah, correct. They never would have known. Anyways, billionaires suck. Eat them.
Like a granola bar.
Let's keep talking about rich people.
Okay.
Like James Gunn.
He's pretty rich. I bet he's pretty rich.
Yeah, James Gunn's got a lot of money.
I bet, listen, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say they just backed up the money truck to James Gunn's house. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So James Gunn has the strangest marketing approach of anyone on the internet, in my opinion, which is no one tells me what to do. I don't sign NDAs. I just say things. It doesn't matter if they are solid or real yet. Most people who work at massive companies like this have to be so incredibly careful. And I want to know what is baked into James Gunn's contracts that he simply doesn't have to. I don't understand how we've gotten to this point. No one else is doing this, and it's not a good strategy either. It's announcements that are little pre-announcements that are getting buried, things that are being announced that don't end up happening, and then fans are disappointed.
Yeah. It's
so strange.
Well, he's coming from the position of somebody who's always been a director and a producer on one project at a time, right? And he's trying to get things done, and he's, from that perspective, it's I'm just going to tell you what I'm working on. I'm just going to tell you what I'm working on and what I'd like to do, which on one level people find refreshing. Here's the thing. He's the head of a studio now.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is there's a reason why you don't see your Kevin Feige's, your Alan Horn's, your whoever's saying there's a reason why things show up on a spreadsheet as Untitled Marvel Project 2022, 2022, 2023, 2024. Mm-hmm. If something goes wrong, or you've got to change something, or something gets delayed and people don't even know it's happening, why would you want to announce a delay? Why would you want to deal with the fallout of a change or the blowback of something going wrong if people don't even need to know it's happening?
It's a very, very strange approach. So in his next series of strange tweets, there was an article that went out, really just a fan article, saying which... Can you scroll down to it?
Yeah.
You're past it. You passed it again, the other direction. Which character should join James Gunn's DCU next? Now, this was just IGN theorizing and running polls. It's engagement bait to see, hey, which character do you want?
So they had some ones here. They have Dick Grayson, Martian Manhunter, Lobo, Brainiac, Deathstroke, Jason Todd, Zatanna, the Court of Owls, Mr. Freeze, and John Constantine. And James Gunn said, what if we did 5 of the 10?
Will 5 of 10 do? And it's just getting people being like, which one? Oh my God. I mean,
now,
Martian Manhunter.
On one level, if 5 of these 10 things are actually happening to the point where they're gonna come out, this is kind of fun. But here's the thing. We know they're in such early days, and he's throwing so many things at the wall to see what's going to stick right now.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how these characters are introduced. Now, the fan part of my brain does want to speculate a little bit.
Yeah, obviously.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I do want to speculate a little bit. I do want to say we know we're getting young Superman, and we know we're getting Green Lanterns, and we know that the end of this first phase of the new DC is going to end with the reveal of the big bad. I could see with a young Superman and a Green Lantern, I could see Brainiac being a big bad very easily.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I have my ones that I would like from this list. I want to do those. Dick Grayson, obviously, always yes, which makes sense.
So we know we're getting
number one.
We know we're getting a Batman movie that's Batman and Damian Wayne.
Yeah.
So the idea that Dick Grayson would be Nightwing in that movie
makes sense.
Pretty easy.
I'm gonna say Zatanna.
Dude. For years, Zatanna, please,
right?
Please,
just like maybe Zatanna.
For years.
The Court of Owls have always been my favorite DC villains. Not including our like hot girl anti-heroes.
Yeah. Court of Owls. I mean, and once again, in a Bruce and Damian movie or series, I forget which one we're getting, but the All-Star Batman, Court of Owls is real easy too.
I do think that would be very realistic to have. I think that especially also because they were reintroduced through the Arkham games.
Can I tell you though? I hope, and number one, you're right, and I think we will see it. But number two, I hope that they take this opportunity to be a little less realistic and more fun with Batman.
Yeah.
I hope they do.
I hope so too.
Your son's a 10-year-old assassin. Like, let's get wild with it.
We talk about this all the time. Neither Anthony nor I are here like, yes, more gritty superhero movies. We're like, have a little good time with it.
Have a little good time as a treat. I mean, that's the thing is like when you say that there's a Batman Damian Wayne movie coming, you can already say like Deathstroke, Jason Todd, Dick Grayson, Court of Owls, Mr. Freeze, potentially Zatanna. Like all of that stuff could happen within this movie real easily.
I still want to see people we've seen that recently. You know what I mean?
Martian Manhunter, we were so close. We were so close to getting a cinematic Martian Manhunter. And I do love Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
I do love John Jones. John Jones.
What just happened?
I love saying his name. John Jones. John.
What do we think is the reality of a Mr. Freeze? Now, obviously, there's a lot of association with Mr. Freeze. Personally, I read that name. I see Schwarzenegger.
Now, as a lover, a genuine lover
of Arnold Schwarzenegger,
of Batman and Robin,
not as
the film.
He doesn't mean like a fan of. He means a past lover.
Yeah. As somebody who spent a torrid summer with Arnold Schwarzenegger, here's what I'll say.
As a lover, he's gentle.
You wouldn't expect it. You wouldn't expect it from him. I always see animated Mr. Freeze because that's the best version of Mr. Freeze to me.
It is.
And
absolutely.
so that comes into my head first. But then, of course, I do love the Arnold Schwarzenegger version because I love Batman and Robin. It's a good movie.
I love Batman and Robin, but I will say he's my least favorite part of it.
Yeah.
That's an Ivy and Bane movie.
Sure.
It's all about Ivy and Bane. And then he's there too, and you're like, feels like that could have been more lines for Ivy and Bane.
Interesting. Weird. But I would love to see a Mr. Freeze story done in the style of the animated series that paints him as that sort of character.
Yeah.
They did that in Arkham, and it was really good. So I could go for more of that.
Yeah.
The one that's on there that I think there are two that are on there on that list that I think are the long shots that I want to see the most.
Oh.
John Constantine.
Yeah?
Now, we do know we're getting a Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves wants to do Constantine 2. We do know that it's still happening. Now, that is Constantine. But what I mean for the long shot is I want the real-ass John Constantine.
And there's no fucking way, because the other one is potentially in development, that they're going to do two Constantines. That'd be too confusing.
It was such a bummer that like they couldn't get Matt Ryan to be in Doom Patrol. They couldn't make it work in time. And God, I would have loved to have seen that, because that character that they brought into Doom Patrol in the comics is supposed to be John Constantine. And it would have been the Doom Patrol and John Constantine. And come on. I fucking love Constantine.
Who's your second one then? Your second long shot.
Now, I know we're hearing a lot of rumors, but I think it's Lobo. I think Lobo's not happening.
Yeah.
I think Lobo's not happening, at least not for a while. I know we're hearing all this the Jason Momoa of it all. But I think Jason Momoa is going to be Aquaman for a while. And then maybe we don't hear from him in the DCU for a few years, and then we get a Lobo. But I don't think Lobo's in development right now.
Interesting.
I think it's a long shot.
So on this list, the way that the fans voted was Dick Grayson, of who they think should join next. I disagree with this list. It goes Dick Grayson, Martian Manhunter, Lobo, Brainiac, Deathstroke, Jason Todd, Zatanna, The Court of Owls, Mr. Freeze, and then John Constantine.
Hey, IGN's fans, learn to fucking read a book. Learn to love John Constantine. That's all I'm saying. Get one of those, stop reading comics, start reading graphic novels.
But Anthony, didn't you hear? Miyamoto took the mail out.
What?
It was in FanFest.
What?
Big announcement. He's gonna drop off a package.
This is interesting. So Dick Grayson, obviously, I have no arguments with that being everybody's number one. Here's what I'm saying. Make it Harvey Guillen in live action too, cowards.
I'm saying Zatanna should be up there.
Zatanna should definitely be up there. Do you know what's holding Zatanna back for most people?
What?
The backwards talk is silly.
Yeah.
That's what's holding her back for most people.
You'll change things when you're doing it live action.
Yeah, of course you will. Of course you will. But the backwards talk is silly. It's like when the demon Etrigan talks in rhymes all the time. And people are like, nah, you can do that in a comic. I don't want to fucking see that.
But you change that.
Now, Tyler Eichenberg in the live studio audience is saying what I'm saying. It's time for Mr. Miracle. It's time. They talked about Booster Gold getting a series. It's time for Booster Gold and the Blue Beetle to be on cool space adventures and be constantly annoying their friends, Mr. Miracle and Big Barda. It's time for that show. It's time for Scott Free to exist in the DC cinematic universe. The universe's greatest escape artist.
Go to the next thing.
No. Mr. Miracle.
No. Show me that Marvels poster.
Okay.
Show me that gosh darn Marvels poster. I am still screaming, crying, and throwing up over this Marvels poster. I love it so much. I think it's so excellent. I'm so fucking excited for the Marvels.
Tagline, if you can't see it, is higher, further, faster, together. I love Miss Marvel. I love the Captain Marvel. I love Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And I really like Spectrum. I like Monica Rambeau.
Absolutely. Hey, here's a fully fucking neutral, cool take. People who disliked Captain Marvel most of the time just didn't find Brie Larson likable enough to save the goddamn universe.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. The Brie Larson backlash was weird.
There is so little actually insightful or thoughtful criticism of that movie, and instead it's just people being like, I fucking hate Brie Larson.
Look, if you're gonna say anything about that movie, like, there are, like any other movie, there are legitimate things you can say. You can say, I just don't want to watch superhero origins anymore. Fair, I guess.
But also at the time,
like,
people complain about it when it's men's.
Yeah, but
they complain about it when it's Captain Marvel. They complain about it when it's Black Widow.
Sure.
I wonder, what is it about that?
Yeah.
what is it those two characters have in common? I just can't quite put my finger on what it is that you dislike about it.
My personal thing about Captain Marvel has always been I don't like the military of it all, but I don't like the military of anything.
Sure, and there's a lot of that in Marvel.
And there's a lot of that in Marvel. But what I love specifically about this and about this poster and about this project is I was wondering, like, are you going to introduce Kamala Khan and then not integrate her into the MCU as fully as I would like to see? You know what I mean? Like, is this going to be a show that's aimed at like a slightly younger audience and it's going to be off in a corner somewhere and there's not going to be enough of the interplay that I want to see between Miss Marvel and these heroes? And this immediately says no.
I'm so excited.
She's part of it all. She's part of it all.
I love Kamala Khan. I loved the series. The Miss Marvel series was so fantastic and so enjoyable. And I noticed when I posted the poster, there was a good amount of people that were like, hey, I haven't watched Miss Marvel. Should I see it? And there's some of the replies were like, yeah, it's kind of aimed younger. It's kind of like for kids. Here's what I'll say. If you can enjoy the modern Spider-Man movies, the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, then Miss Marvel is not too adolescent for you.
No, absolutely not. A lot of these movies are, you know, fun teen power fantasies.
Yep.
That should work for you no matter who it is.
Absolutely.
As long as it's done well. And the big thing, you know, the other big thing for me about this is like when they initially announced the Marvels, I was also like, okay, well, is this going to be like another 4-episode Disney Plus thing, 6-episode Disney Plus thing? And like, this is a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is the November Marvel, which, by the way, it's been pushed to November. This is the big November, like, holiday season Marvel release.
Yeah.
And Kamala Khan is right there, front and center.
So freaking cool. I'm so excited.
I never thought we would get to the point with the MCU where I would see a Kamala Khan film. I was just like, we're never going to get there. There's no way we're ever going to get there. And we fucking got there.
We got there, and I'm very excited about it. There's a couple other little pieces of movie news. I know that we're a little bit over, but we started a bit late today, so I want to just run through these really quickly.
Sure.
One of them is Zach Galifianakis, cast in the live-action Lilo and Stitch remake that you probably forgot was happening.
He's the big sister. It's such a problem.
Do not slander Nani like this.
Listen, I didn't do it. They did it. They said, what if we got him to play Nani? And everybody was like, what are you doing? They're like, it's called a different take.
This is not true.
It's called modernizing. He's got range. Do you think he doesn't have range?
Okay, and I know we're all scared of a live-action Lilo and Stitch. I am as well. Lilo and Stitch is a perfect movie.
I want justice for the animated Lilo and Stitch that people still overlook all the time.
But hear me out. Everybody?
If this is, I mean, look, I want it to be a hit, but if this is a hit and the animated one never caught on with people, and it's the same movie.
It never caught on.
Dude, it tanked. I don't
think that that's a correct number anymore, though.
It's it is historically one of the lowest performing Disney movies on home release, in theatrical. It just didn't do well.
But everybody.
But it's perfect.
But everybody listen. Picture for me, if you will. Live action Nani.
I mean, look.
What's Nani's boyfriend's name?
Nani's boyfriend?
I know, like, Anthony, you don't understand how significant this is as a bisexual. That could be David. Think about in that animated movie how hot Nani and David are.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that part could be very, very good. So in this, nobody knows what he was cast as yet. There's a lot of speculation. A lot of people thought maybe he's Stitch.
He's Pleakley.
The green one, right?
I'm saying it right now. He's Pleakley.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
They're taking number one?
Stitch.
Which number one? Kevin McDonald is perfect, and they should have just gotten him back to be Pleakley.
And it's possible they did. We don't know this yet.
But I don't think he's Stitch. I think he is. I think he's Pleakley.
I also think he's Pleakley. That was my theory as well. I think it makes a ton of sense. And who knows why they would have gone in that direction. Obviously, a lot of these live action movies are going the direction of casting like these specific kinds of celebrities that they think that people will click in for. But I think that that's kind of a moot point with this particular character.
Who do you think Josh Gad's going to be?
I'm very curious to see who plays all of these characters. I'm very curious to see how they do that kind of like mixed media of live action with obviously Stitch can't be live action.
Hear me out, though. Stitch is live action. Either through Disney science that they've been creating in a lab.
Okay. They like made an actual Stitch.
They made a Stitch. And you're going to be able to buy them at the Disney resorts.
Okay. Or
they made 2 Stitches.
I thought the or was going to be a dog with a jacket that has a bunch of legs on it.
Now, see, that could also work. That could also work.
The last piece of movie news is that Megan is getting an unrated version for Peacock exclusively.
Now, we did hear that there was going to be an extended cut of Megan that was gorier and more violent, which we had mixed feelings about.
They're not mixed.
Because the reason why they're mixed is I normally want a director's cut of a horror movie. I normally do.
I do. I don't usually want something when they're like, it could be even grosser.
Yeah.
And I think that people take that direction.
We could put even more kids in danger.
Yeah. So like, I'm not somebody that wants a gorier Megan by any means. I personally have my opinions about like that most of the gore that it actually exists in that movie is inflicted on a child.
Yeah.
Not really my vibe.
Well, don't worry, Saige. No one's going to see it because it's releasing on Peacock.
Got him. Anyways, yeah, like, right? Like, that sounds terrible. Like, that sounds terrible. People are speculating on a lot of the stuff that it is. Unfortunately, there's like a violence towards animals in that movie that makes me really uncomfortable.
it's all like animals and kids.
Yeah, it made me, the movie made me very uncomfortable even as like a pretty big horror fan. It just wasn't for me.
James Wan he's got weird takes on good ideas. That's what I'll say. He comes up with like good ideas and then he's like, what if I do like the grossest, and not the grossest in a cool way. He's like, what if I just take the most fucked up take of this? What if I take it in the most fucked up direction? Yeah.
Are you saying Malignant was a good idea?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to think on that one.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to think on that one. Anyways, that is all of the show that we have time for.
She's got another head on the back of her head.
Yeah, but it's evil.
But it's an evil one.
But it's evil. Hey, thank you so much, everybody who suggested stories for today's show. We appreciate you very much. Thank you to Flatlander. Thank you to Skywalker. We covered a lot of stuff that y'all wanted to talk about, and we love that, and we appreciate that. Thank you for contributing to the show.
Yeah. Thank you all very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, my friend.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Of course, we do this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have been here. We are always here. We will continue to be here.
Exactly. There's a bunch of different ways that you can support the show, but just showing up and watching it is the number one. You can join the Discord, which is totally free to do. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/PixelCircus, where you get bonus clips from this show. We do have an episode of our new show or a new season, a new adaptation of One Time on the Internet that went up this week. You can also do things like donate during the show.
It's a soft reboot of One Time on the Internet.
Yes. There is a donation goal right here on screen. This goes to supporting the people that you see on screen. This is how we eat after the show. And that is generally just about it.
It's actually about the kid of the original Internet from the original series.
Still on that one?
Yeah.